Hello, a music review for this time, and it's going to be about Peter Gabriel's album I.O., as well as a bit of a pilgrimage to Solsbury Hill. Deal with Solsbury Hill first of all. I've been going up and down the main roads between the north and the south near Bath for, well, all my life, but as an adult, 30 odd years or so. And when I became aware of where Solsbury Hill was, it became really important to me because I find the song really inspirational. Obviously, it's Peter's revelation about leaving Genesis and going it alone, and all the psychological anxiety and deciding to go for it. As I've been going past Solsbury Hill for as long as I can remember, I'll be singing in my head or put on in the car something Peter Gabriel. New Blood, So are my two most go-to Peter Gabriel albums. I know older Peter Gabriel fans will be going, no Tim, you need to go to the early stuff, but those are the ones I know best for Peter Gabriel, and I know I need to look into Peter's earlier stuff. Nevertheless, he's an artist I really love. He's very dear to me. He sings very emotionally rich songs that make me think, songs that stay with me, and indeed I count Mercy Street as probably the most inspirational song I know. The line, all of the buildings and all of the cars were once just a dream in somebody's head. That has motivated me to get on with some of my ideas and some of my dreams more often than anything else I can remember. The realization that every action, every plan, everything that we see humans construct, whether it's a concept or a lifestyle or indeed physical structures around us, were just once a dream in their head. And yeah, thank you, Peter. Amazing song. Just after Christmas 2023, heading back north, I thought, okay, I'll stop, make the time to go up Solsbury Hill. Came across the toll road at Bathampton, parked up at Bath Eastern, down next to the River Avon. There's a small free car park, some toilets there as well, and some shops just across the road. So it's a really handy spot for a number of different reasons. The mood next to the river was really pastel, early morning, filtered sunlight, just lovely. So I made my way uphill, past a great big tree on the corner as you started going up towards Little Solsbury Hill. The way you can walk forks. There is a footpath that just cuts up onto the left across the field, which then misses out a road surfaced route. I chose the road surface route going up because I'm a fan of ancient sites, ancient ways, and I know you get a deep, hollow way. It is somewhere that's been traversed for centuries, if not millennia. So I wanted to get the feel of the road, of the land around me, and the trees towering above, and just reflect on people going up and down, probably from Little Solsbury Hill, for a couple thousand years, maybe more. Picked the track right up and got on top, and it was beautiful. A really blue sky day, which is why I chose also that day and that moment to go, because later in the day it was cloudy, low light, giving it that really luscious green vibe. And another reason for going up to Little Solsbury Hill is because it's an Iron Age hill fort. 2,500 years ago, there were people residing up there in hut circles, looking out across what we now know as Bath, or Bath. I live up north now, so it should be Bath. I followed the perimeter of the Iron Age hill fort around clockwise. On the northwest perimeter, just where the ramparts get a little bit more complex, in a flat area there is actually a labyrinth in the turf, in the ground. That was an extra special moment. Really enjoyed seeing that and having a ponder, and then completed my circuit. As I completed my circuit, there was a fellow out running with his dog. He stopped briefly and asked me to take a photograph of him posing with his dog. Brief conversation, and we went into talking about mental health, and we had a hug to wish each other well, which was kind of really nice. And knowing that Peter Gabriel's music is important to me because of its emotional and a mental health content, it just felt really kind of fitting. Here I am making a pilgrimage to Solsbury Hill and thinking about mental health and plans and things that are going on at the moment, and then I get a hug off a stranger wishing well, and then off he went bounding downhill with his dog. So that was really special, a nice little pilgrimage to Solsbury Hill. Now, as for I.O., I really like it. I really do. Sounds like there's a but there, but there isn't. It took me a while to get to grips with the album, because there's a bright side and there's a dark side, and the track listing for both is obviously the same, but there's a slightly different production and a different vibe to each. When I get a new album, I like to listen to it and familiarize myself with it, so it kind of becomes canon in my head. Having two albums of the same, I was kind of stuck as to, well, which is the proper version of I.O. Like, there's two proper versions of I.O. and while I got that cognitively, emotionally, it's like, well, which do I latch on to? So I spent a couple of weeks just listening to the bright side, and then going to the dark side. And on my solo travels north-south over Christmas, I had it on repeat in the car, as well as playing it off Spotify as I walked places. And it's a really beautiful album. I got the CD, the full thing, and with the video disc, which I have not yet played. I know that's a grievous, heinous omission, but I will get around to it. So you can see the inlay is really lovely. So what I like about physical media is you handle it, you feel it, you can interact more with the artist's concept, with the vibe. Now there is a booklet in here which gives a lot more artwork, helps illustrate the concepts that Peter has, yeah, obviously all the musicians and people playing to it. In places it feels very much like New Blood, which for me is a good thing. I love New Blood. Having really only grappled with Peter since So, which was my introduction to Peter's music, New Blood gave me a vehicle for going into some of Peter's older catalogue, which, yeah, I thought New Blood was great. All of the album is really good. Every track is strong. It's hard to pick out what would be an instant hit single these days. So like So album has so many songs on there which are and were hit after hit. Instead with I.O., what you have is just a lot of really solid songs. Some were instantly latched upon me and some had to grow. My own favourites are Playing for Time, Love Can Heal, Live and Let Live, and So Much. Songs about mortality, valuing time, love, emotions. Yeah, really, really lovely, moving album. Really strong. If you can get for a walk up Solsbury Hill, I really recommend it. Pick a fine day, pick a nice day. It's relatively easy, just take your time. But the views up there are astounding. It's really moving to think of Peter being up there, receiving his sort of inspirational moment. People living up there a couple thousand years ago, and probably in between times since too. I hate saying this and thinking this about artists I particularly love, and I do love Peter very dearly. If it ends up being his final album, it is a very fitting, solid testimony to Peter's maturity as an artist, to his production, to his lyrics, to his values, and yeah, it's just a very fitting legacy to add to his already very good legacy. And I really do recommend I.O.